Eurodeputeti austriak Andreas Shider nga radhët e Socialdemokratëve, i cili është edhe bashkëkryesues në Komitetin e Përbashkët Parlamentar të Maqedonisë së Veriut në Bashkimin Evropian, në intervistë për televizionin Klan Macedoni thekson se për imazhin e vendit në BE, kyçe do të jenë zgjedhjet fair dhe demokratike, pa lojra politike dhe pa blokada. Shider, i cili këtyre ditëve në Shkup u takua me përfaqësues të bloqeve të ndryshme politike, thekson se negociatat e deruese me Maqedoninë e Veriut duhet të fillojnë sa më shpejt, sepse Ballkani në sy të Austrisë sigurisht që është pjesë e Europës. Problemet e zgjidhura me fqinjët dhe reformat në vend duhet të vlerësohen nga ana e Brukselit, thekson Shider, dhe kjo duhet të ndodhë sa më shpejt.
My opinion is it should be as soon as possible. And I can tell you also why. Because the European Union was asking North Macedonia to solve its neighboring problems by itself. This led to a huge reform process, to a treaty with Bulgaria, and also an agreement with Greece, and a huge reform process inside the country. We know a referendum and all these kind of things which was done. So if you deliver, you should also get what was promised. I can tell you also that the European Union, the European Parliament, more or less every single member is in favor to start the negotiations. In the European Commission, there is everybody the opinion, yes, we should start the negotiations. In the Council, so among the head of states, more or less everybody is in favor to start the negotiation.
More or less?
More or less. Because the French president and two other countries at the end said, no, we have some doubts on how we negotiate and if the European Union itself also is well prepared. So I hope that in the next weeks we can give an answer to these issues also. And then we can say, looking at the country of North Macedonia, and say, you solved your neighboring problems yourself, you changed your name, you made a referendum, and you made a huge also reforms on other issues, like fighting corruption in the country and a lot of other things. Not everything has been done now, but a huge starting processes, and we should take this in consideration and give the green light, which is not only because to say thank you for the reforms and said that the government was doing right and that the former Prime Minister Saif was doing a huge effort, but it's also simply because the people of North Macedonia deserve it. They want to be part of the European Union, and they should.
And that there is no logic several countries to be left on the periphery of the European Union and still to be on the continent.
You know, I come from Vienna. And we in Vienna, we understand the Balkan a little bit closer. We know that this is our neighborhood. We know how the culture is, how the situation also is. And this for us is clear part of the European Union. And therefore the way how to become also legally part of the European Union is start negotiations.
What should be the good messages coming from Macedonia in the next couple of months in terms of getting this aim, the accession talks? We
know that some years ago there was a big divide in the country. And the government was able to bridge this divide also. And I think the symbol which must be sent to Europe is that there is not a huge divide coming again. So it is important to make also clear that a huge majority of the country, and hopefully also all the politicians from the different parties, are supporting this way of reform. So that everybody is accepting that with Prespa agreement, there was a huge step forward.
Is this the stand of the opposition party?
This you have to ask the opposition party. I hope they will do so.
Do you have that information by them?
Yes and no. I met some which are in favor and some which are hesitating. And I urge everybody to accept how it is. And it is the best what you can do for your own country is to send a unified message to the European Union, say we accept the Prespa agreement, we accept the name of North Macedonia, we don't play the national card, but we continue of making reforms in our country. And then, of course, there is difference in how you make politics. This is the logical thing. So I want to say also clearly, and this is what I told also all the politicians here, is that the European Union is watching very carefully how the elections are done. They must be done fair, free, and without any administrative and political problem. This, I think, is important, and this is the most important for the country itself. So I hope also that in the election campaign, nobody is cooking up again his own business, but everybody is working in the sake of the country.
Have you at all mentioned to the opposition party that there is no condition, but it will be good to vote for the law of a public prosecution body?
There is some laws on the table which the European Union and the politicians in Europe think it's better for the country if they are approved. We know that there's not so much time for the parliament to approve them, and some are more complicated and some are less complicated. So I hope that as much as possible of the laws which are on the table will find a compromise how to vote them. If not, I think it must be clear that even after the election, very soon, all this law has to be passed through. It's not the time, honestly saying, it's not the time for these stupid games playing sometimes, for the election to say, I'm more this, I'm blocking here, I'm blocking there. The best is to sit together, to find a compromise, and to bring it through. But if it will work or not, we will see. There will be some meetings also to see in which fields we can go further, and I hope can go as much further as possible.
The Austrian Prime Minister a couple of days ago said that Austria would like to have more dynamic role in political decision making in EU, and to have a role in mending of the French mistake, let's call it, like it was mostly called previously. Are there huge divisions currently between Western members of EU and Eastern countries?
You're asking me, I'm a politician of the Austrian opposition, and you're asking me about the Prime Minister. And this maybe is also important to underline. I think he's right, and I very much supported the initiative of the Foreign Minister, Mr. Scheinberg, who was collecting other foreign ministers and to make a proposal also on the methodology of the negotiation agreement, to give, let's say it in this way, to give a positive answer on the problem which Macron was creating. And I think this is the way how we should work to solve the problems. Whenever somebody is creating a problem, the rest must work that we overcome this problem. And here we have to be careful. There is not a divide between East and West, but what we see in the European Union is there is a political group who prefer the national card more than the European card. And we all know that at the end of the day, Europe is the idea to work together, and that we all understand that if we work together, we can achieve higher level than if everybody is cooking his own soup.
Austria is one of the first neighbors of the Balkan countries. Are you concerned that some of the not solved problem could develop in negative way in the coming months or years?
Also always, but I think that the role of Austria is also to maybe be a little bit an ambassador of the Balkans with the other countries. There is some misunderstanding, maybe also in the Élysée Palace, maybe also in other state offices, and the Austrians can show that there is a misunderstanding and to clear it up. And I think this is what is, we have huge divisions also between government and opposition in Austria, but I think what we all think is that the Western Balkans, usually we say the Balkans, should become the member of the European Union quite soon.
How many people from Balkan countries live currently in Austria?
That's a good question. We don't know exactly because much of them, of course, also have Austrian citizenship, but of course have roots in the region. And not everybody has declared exactly from which country he's coming from, because we had several waves of migration. And some also left the country and went back home again. And I think this is the good thing.
You've got the first minister now.
We got the Minister of Justice, which is from Bosnia.
What are the reactions in the country? Mixed.
Mixed. My personal reactions are extremely positive. I know her from the parliament. She's an extremely good politician, and she's well educated. She knows what she does, and she was attacked by the right, extreme right. And I think this is extremely unfair. And this is not how we want it. What we want is that simply we judge people by what they are able to do and not where they are coming from. And, you know, we think that the Balkan somehow starts in Vienna, geographically, at least culturally it does. And this is this deep understanding which is, of course, coming from that we have people which are partly from Balkan but partly also Austrians. And whatever it is needed, they know the languages, they know the culture, they know the food, we know how it's living together. And at the end, we see it is also in the interest of Austria. No?